Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's September the 10th, 2023. I'm out here on the shores of Goat Refuge Lake working with the Nyssa ogeche white tupelo today. This is the famous bee honey tupelo. And there's a lot to say about this, but I won't go into it all. We're in a big effort now for going on the third year to get white tupelo established. If you look across the lake, you'll see in that section over there the water tupelo swamp. And that's pretty much a permanent swamp, that the water is there throughout all seasons. But right now we are in a drier spell here, the driest it's been in 2 years. If we look at the shores of the lake here, we can see very well where the water level's been. To tell you the truth, it was 20 foot higher at one point. That was 2 years ago in the autumn when the storm Sally hit, the big rain dump and flooding, and the first time that this lake was ever flooded, because this lake was produced by gravel, sand operations, mining operations about 7-8 years ago. And it was the first time that the lake had got an influx from outside other than rainwater. It also brought in a lot of bass. The bass have since grown, and there's just lunker bass in this lake. All right, so back to the topic. You see all around you here, you see in a white blackberry grove, you see tropical hibiscus of various types. And we got Abelmoschus manihot over here with a beautiful yellow flowers, and we're harvesting seeds, we're harvesting flowers, putting in wine batches, and there's still some straggler flowers still blooming here weeks later. The red is the maroon mellow here. It's the acetosella, the hibiscus acetosella, and it produces the delicious red leaves. We have the hibiscus sabdarifa red fruiting variety here, and we have the green emerald fruiting variety here. Emerald green it's called, from Africa. It's got a bit of a bushier profile, some thicker leaves on it. Delicious leaves, they got a lemony-like taste. Our first year growing those, and they're just doing phenomenal. Anyways, back to the topic of the white tupelo. So what we have here is white tupelo in a lot of 1 gallon pots. There's just a few pots here, okay? And we have the white tupelo that grew up in these pots for the last, since March. So it's been a good, 5-6 months. We are now transplanting these today down into a transitional swamp. I'm going to grab a couple of these, knowing very well that I'm going to have roots busting out the bottom of these pots, and I'm going to try to be as careful as I can with these tap roots. Well, it's not going to be so easy. As we can see, these roots are embedded in there. I just broke one there. There's another root coming out the side here. So it's best to get the shovel and dig them out. Try to be careful of those roots. That could kill the tree right there. But those roots have definitely busted through the pots and gone through. Now this one here, it hasn't busted through. I can lift the pot and take it. The little ones, most of them have busted through there, it looks like. So I'm taking these pots over. I'm going to be as careful as I can with the roots. And I'll show you where we're going. Beauty berries fruiting right now. We've been picking lots of elderberry and wild grape in the past few weeks. All right, so this whole area down here, acres of land, is a swamp, usually underwater when there's rains. It was for 2 full years it was underwater, long enough that there was a thriving population of brim out here, bluegill. And when it dried up, that first drying was a couple months ago, they all died out here, the bluegill. The birds came and got them, we got a bunch, and for the fertilizer production and composting. So we step down into this area that, again, it's all water in here most of the time. And we're going to be planting these white tupelo at locations throughout the swamp, including a little further up the bank. Now what happened? Back during Sally storm, the Sally flood and big storm and flood over 2 years ago, is we had a big planting, big investment in the white tupelo. The first things we did out here, and we planted it all out in here. But that water came way up here, folks. It was 4 or 5 foot deep out here. And it completely covered them, and they don't survive in that situation. They need the leaves above the water. So if it does drastically flood and we lose some, we'll have some others that are a little higher up on some banks around here and get them going. So we think it's a good time right now for them to get established. We're going to be fertilizing them. We're going to be putting in this rich compost here made from leaves and forestry mulch, chips and pine bark and goat poops and well-aged, good compost. So it's going to be in the soil all around each of these plants, and we're going to be fertilizing them with our fish hydrolysate based fish fertilizer. And we're going to look to get these guys growing up and able to handle the waters when they come back into this swamp, and see if they can find the place where they thrive. Why have we chosen this swamp? Look around. See all these dead deciduous trees? These died because this wasn't so much of a swamp before. They say a little creek used to come through here. When they did the mining and made the lakes and all, it altered the area a bit to make this more susceptible to the high water level and the swamp conditions. You know, you can see that since there's some cypress well established in here, that in points there has been water here long term, but not everywhere in here. So there's actually additional acreage that's now become sunny because of the death of the other trees and open, and it's an open page for the white tupelo. You couldn't do this over in our water tupelo swamp. It's, you know, trees are over 50 foot tall. It's completely shaded with a canopy up above. So this is a very unique opportunity, an experiment, if you will, a hopeful experiment for us, and we've been investing in it. We've been trial and error, for failure. We've had failure, definitely, like I said, with that Sally flood. But we believe that this could be a thriving location for white tupelo. And we're going to get to it today. We'll check in a little later and see how we're doing. But I got some holes to dig right now, some compost to move. Let's get these guys in here and get them established. We want to put some little markers on them too so we can spot them easier this time.